Hey guys, welcome to the Gedunk. I'm Josh.
I'm Billy.
And I'm Ashley.
And it's episode 8 on Survivor.
Yeah, and what an episode it was, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
It's crazy.
You thought you were going to get away not talking about this stuff this season, Billy, but you be wrong.
Nah, man. They proved me wrong on this show. Yeah, and we've been talking in the beginning how great it was we'd have to do all that kind of stuff, and now here we go.
Creeped in.
It did.
All right, so they're talking about last week, and Hai wants to know who wrote his name down.
And all of a sudden, I receive a hinky vote, which, whatever.
He doesn't want to know. He just wants him to fess up to
Admit
it.
it.
He
Yeah,
knows.
he knows.
He knows who did it.
He just wants to admit it, and then he calls him out in front of everybody. Okay,
Yeah.
nobody else did it, so it's Romeo.
Romeo's like, no, I didn't.
It wasn't me, bro.
So, all right, so is anyone else willing to fess up?
You lie in my face!
No? All right, well, you don't need to because I know it was him. It was him.
Oh, yeah.
I know.
It was Romeo. I
Well,
got it.
Romeo's
Got it.
taking, some kind of like pleasure in seeing him
Yeah,
sweat it a
squirm.
little bit.
He kept saying, I want to see him squirm. I like seeing
Well, you
Hai
wanted to
squirm.
know why he did it. Apparently, that's why he did it.
It's kind of obvious why.
Yeah.
The way Tribal went.
Well, you
last
asked last week. You asked in last week's episode, why would he throw that random vote that way? Now you know why.
So Hai's like going. He's got a little Mike syndrome this week. So
Yeah.
same thing happened to Mike with Chanel, and now Hai's like, all right, gotta give her a Romeo. I don't like him.
Dude's
Romeo's
toast.
dead to him
Dude,
now.
lied in my face. Vote for me. You're gone.
Yep. Rox wants a 5-guy alliance,
Yeah.
even though there's 6 guys. So I guess he's not counting
Yeah,
Romeo.
Romeo.
so-
Because I think he just automatically assumed Romeo's days are numbered because nobody likes Romeo. So I think he's trying to include Romeo in that. But yeah, man, he's walking around talking to all the dudes except Romeo. But like, hey, let's do a guys alliance, which is pretty sexist, I think. Eh? Would they consider that
That's
sexist?
fine. It's fine. You normally don't see.
You see the girls doing it.
You
so.
don't normally see guys alliance on Survivors. Normally the girls who get this kind of thought process. But
Yeah.
so I thought it was kind of interesting seeing the guys trying to pull it together. But like Rox goes to Omer and he's like, I don't know if I'm feeling that. Of course he to his
says
face
he
says
is, yeah.
he's down.
Yeah,
but
sure.
and then Omer kind of goes to Hai and he's like, what do you think about all this?
And
he
Hai
ain't
says the
down
same
either.
thing. No.
No.
I ain't down either, man. Which, yeah, I mean, I get they don't like Rox Roy, and that's even what Omer says. He's like, Rox hasn't tried to talk with me this whole time, but now all of a sudden he wants to do his guys alliance to talk with me. He was like, I don't think so.
I mean, I could see that because like this is a plan for Rox to be safe for several weeks, and then these guys can be like, I see what you're doing.
Yeah, I see through it. Well, then Omer made a good point too. He's like, I suck at events, He's like, so you want me to get rid of all the women first and have all
Right.
dudes I'm competing against? He's
And
like, no.
that's the point
Yeah,
that
that made a
the
good point for
weaker
Omer.
men have is that like when you look at who are the two like big top men or 3 would be Mike, Jonathan, and Roxroy.
No,
and who,
Jonathan, then Mike, then
okay,
Rox
I
Roy.
didn't say in any particular order. But the only people that are actually serving as threat to them are the women.
Right.
So yeah. It works in their advantage to have this, but not the other people's.
Yeah, and they're trying to convince Mike a little bit, but like if you're good with Rox, why would you want him out?
Right.
So it really depends on what your personal interests are. I
Yeah.
think, so.
Yeah. But let's get to how it comes down to these different alliances now, right?
Yep. So then they do the immunity challenge. 1 challenge this week, but 2 people are going home and 2 people are safe. So they break them into 2 teams.
2 random teams, evidently. 2 random teams,
Of
they
5.
say. Of 5.
And you have all men on one, and then you have all women on the other, and Jonathan.
Which is funny because you just had all the men talking about doing a men's alliance, and then all of a sudden it just happens to work out this way. I don't think there's anything random about that, and especially since the only people that have been giving Jonathan a run for their money is women. So they're like, we'll put Jonathan on this
I
team
don't know
and make
about
him
women. I
make
would
him
say
fight Tory.
Tory only.
Yeah,
Tory.
make him fight to stay in this game because at that point, if Jonathan loses, he's out. Those women are going to vote him out, and he's toast. So I don't think there's anything random about that. I think they're like, all right, we're going to screw these guys over for their guys alliance, and they're going to have to vote a guy out, and then Jonathan's over here going to be fighting for his life.
I like to give people the benefit of the doubt, so I'd like to think this wasn't rigged.
I don't give
Yeah,
Jeff-
I'm not really
I don't give
sure
Jeff the benefit of the
because I don't think the guys had any issue with it because they're like, okay, Romeo, he was on a crap list anyway,
Right,
so
we'll get
this
rid of
kind of seals
Yeah.
that. So I think for that team, it didn't really impact them. Now, the way this plays out, who knows?
Right,
But
right.
but like seeing Jonathan on a team of nothing but women, and it's an endurance one, you probably don't think Jonathan's going to win this, and then now he's on a team with all women. Historically, people might take notice of that and
Yeah.
band together.
Oh, yeah.
But this plays out a little differently.
Like I said, I don't think there's anything random about that at all. I think they were like, oh, cool, we're going to throw a little wrench
the
in this.
odds
In these
are probably low that
Very
all
low.
women would be on the same team.
Extremely low,
Yeah.
yes. Extremely low.
So I'd like to know how they randomly chose that myself.
Yeah.
But
I just told
Again,
you
I
how.
give them the benefit of the doubt.
I don't know.
You're naive, Ashley. You're naive.
could have been a ploy to get rid of Jonathan. We don't know.
yeah.
But
That's how I get myself
it
into these
kinda-
situations altogether.
If you were going to come up with a ploy to get rid of Jonathan, that
was the
would
way to
be
do
the
it.
way to do it.
Absolutely. Shame on you, CBS, and shame on you, Jeff, for lying to us.
But-
that was not random.
It did not work.
No, as we're going to find out. So yeah, so
they have this challenge where they have to stand on this
triangle.
pyramid thing, and
And they're supposed
and
to
they're-
move up
they're
at
supposed to
periodic
move up,
times,
but
but
the water is so rough
Yeah.
that these guys are just struggling to stay on the lowest platform.
Oh yeah, like everybody dropped right off the bat, and there's only 3 left. I mean, within 2 minutes, everybody was gone. It was like,
Yeah.
oh, and I like this endurance challenge. I haven't seen this one before. I don't know if you guys have seen
We
this
have,
one.
yeah.
Okay, I'd never seen this one before. They didn't do this in episode 41 or season 41, so I was like, oh, that's a pretty cool one. You know, especially with how choppy that water was. I was like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
this is gonna be fun. Like out there riding a mechanical bull, except it's out in the middle of the waves, you know. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and there's also an advantage for the overall winner in the fact that they get some chicken and veggie
Beef.
kebabs.
For the team, yeah.
it was beef.
Was it beef?
Yeah, beef kebabs.
Okay,
yeah.
beef and veggie kebabs,
Beef and
and then
chicken
they
are
also go to tribal second, so they can see who was voted off initially.
Yeah, which apparently turned. I was like,
turned
okay,
into
that's.
a
I guess that's an advantage,
huge
but
crap
like,
show.
apparently it was a big advantage for some people.
I thought it could have been an advantage if they saw it play out, but they just get to go second. They walk in there
Yeah.
and they can
All they
physically
see,
see
yeah.
who's sitting there.
Yeah, exactly.
So
So it's down to, was it Jonathan, High, and who? So
Lindsay.
High won on his team, right? High won on his team.
he's just trying to hold on.
But he's
for the
gonna hold
beef.
on
He
for
won
life. Trying to
pretty
beat-
early, like
Yeah.
it was just him
So
practically.
the
on that
vegan is
side.
trying to hold on for beef for his team.
Well,
Just
veggie
wants-
kebabs.
Yeah, he could eat the veggie, yeah. But even though we've already seen him tearing up some chicken wings and burgers, so he's already thrown all that crap out the window. But so High did great, on his team. He's holding out. Then you got Jonathan and Lindsay both holding out, and then finally Lindsay drops, right? And then it was High that dropped, and then Lindsay and Jonathan were still going at it. I think that's how it went down.
Yeah, I think Lindsay dropped actually.
I
It was
think
between
Lindsay.
And then it was High and Jonathan.
High
Yeah.
and Jonathan.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, Jonathan won. Lucky
He
for him.
did.
Otherwise, that dude would have been toast.
He probably would have gone home if he
would've
did
gone
not
home.
win this the way
Absolutely.
the teams were set up. I would suspect.
No doubt about it. There's no doubt that dude would have been gone.
And
So
you
good for
know,
him.
then they're separated too, so they have a chance to talk about who's going home. And
Right.
and the team with guys was pretty uneventful the whole time.
Well, because at first they all thought, okay, cool, we're going to send Romeo home, but then that's when Roxroy screwed up, and Roxroy being Roxroy, getting on everybody's nerves, going to being forceful with everybody, saying, hey, we need to do this, and not listening to anybody. And at that point, they just pissed everybody off. And they're like, oh, screw it, we're going to vote Roxroy out. We can get rid of Romeo anytime. You know,
Yeah.
let's get rid of this guy because he doesn't listen to us. He's freaking trying to be bossy about everything. And so let's just
Now,
Nobody
I will
likes
say
being-
it is between Romeo and Rox, but Mike is not on board for this.
He
because
wasn't,
He was
yeah.
close
'Cause he-
with Rox, and he's like, nope.
He said, I
let's
gave him my
stay
word.
the course, kind of like last week he did
Yeah.
this.
Mike's one of the only honest people on this show. I mean, everything he said he's going to do, he does. And he flat out said, no, I gave him my word. I'm going to, not vote for him, so I'm not going to vote for him.
And I think he's right in this too, where
Yeah.
if you start making deals and then immediately backtrack on them, it makes you look
There's no
like no
trust.
one can make a deal
Right.
with you.
Yeah, there's no
Right.
trust. You lose all,
Well, and that's kind of his thing too. Like when someone goes against him, he's done. He's done with them. So, his word is his
exactly.
bond.
Yeah,
exactly.
so at this point you think it's Rox and Romeo. And then you flip to the other team, and Jonathan, he thinks, oh, I'm safe, so this is my big week to come up with my big plan on who I'm going to get
Yeah.
out of. And he is targeting Drea and brings Mary Ann on it. But he wants like
here's where
a
he
vote
screwed up.
on Mary Ann to
he said,
To tell Drea to vote for
he
somebody.
said, we're going to tell Drea to vote for you, Marianne, but we want everybody else to vote for Drea.
But the problem is he's not thinking like Drea has all these idols and stuff. If she plays an idol, that means Marianne's going to go
Right.
home because of that. And he's not thinking like more than one layer deep.
No, he's
and
not.
Lindsay's like, what if she plays an idol? Then what? And
But
he's
then he
like,
just
huh?
doesn't listen.
No, and then-
he
and-
just pulls.
he pulls a Roxroy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he
and
pulls a
that's the
Roxroy.
thing is people don't like to not be heard. We've seen it. We saw it last season. We've seen it in every other season. It's just pure relationship.
Well, she's bringing
101.
up
They
good
don't like
points
to not
too.
be heard.
Lindsay's
She's like,
points
you
were
gotta
very
think
good.
about this kind of stuff because
Lindsay's a strategic
it could
thinker.
happen.
Jonathan isn't.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, she's not going to play the idol.
Right.
Yeah,
it's like, what?
And he would cut her off. He would cut her off. And
he's like,
say,
you're not listening to me.
You're not listening. You're not listening. And she's like,
yeah,
okay.
I'm with Lindsay on this one.
Yeah, and then Lindsay's like, why wouldn't we put
sure.
the vote on Tory? You know, so she's like, we've been trying to get rid of Tory. Why wouldn't we put the vote on Tory? Because Dre and Tory hate each other. He's like, do they? How do we know that for sure? And she's like, dude, because I know. She's like, I've been talking to more people than you have. I know what's going on. And he's just like I said, he is not hearing her out whatsoever.
Right.
And that was bad on him. And he put a bad taste in all the women's mouths this week, I think, for him, because he was trying to be bossy with all of them. So
Jonathan? Mm-hmm. He's kind of an idiot.
She's like, he's kind of an idiot. And she's
she was
pretty right
on
in this instance.
In that instance, she was right. And then, of course, Marianne's like, I feel like Jonathan treats me like the little sister, a little kid, like he's towing me around and telling me what to do. And she's like, no, I'm here to play.
Yeah, and I'm sure that's not intentional, but it does come off a little bit like that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You just have to present your idea and then persuade, not tell.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what him
and Rox both did.
That's what rubs people the wrong way. That's why people want to vote you out.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and here's the deal. This is the first time Jonathan's had immunity, so he feels obviously safe. So he can dictate things, I think.
Right. Well, he thinks he can.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
So that was kind of interesting. I was really disappointed to see Jonathan not think things through.
I was too.
Like,
although, come to tribal, he kind of did, and we'll get to that. But that was, he made a good decision on that one. But But going into the first tribal here.
Yeah, so this episode is pretty uneventful at this point.
For the most part,
and then they go to the first tribal, and it's still pretty uneventful because these guys aren't really bringing up any drama or anything like that. They're like, we handled it like men. And
then Jeff's like, so everybody was just like, what's up? And they're like, yeah, whatever. That's how we handled
and
it.
Rox is like, I know how this is going to play out. So
Yeah, Rox.
We knew this early on. We didn't really have to have a discussion. We know what we're doing. Let's just do it.
Yeah,
so
he has no idea.
They consider it like a foregone conclusion what's going to happen. So they're like, everyone was pretty chill because we know how this is going to play out.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And Jeff's like, all right, let's vote.
And Romeo did not play his shot in the dark.
No, he did not.
No.
Yeah, and you keep bringing up like he needs to play, but if people are convincing him that someone else is going, they're going to need his vote to do that. So if he does play in a shot in the dark, that means he has no trust in that plan whatsoever.
No, I think at that point when Rox said, hey, we know how this is going to play out, everybody else did. Everybody else sitting there didn't know how it was going to play out.
He's right, but he's wrong.
Yeah, he's right, exactly.
Romeo, he was just wrong with who was included in the we.
In the we, exactly. He was the only one that wasn't in the we, but everybody else was all on the same page. They all
in the
we. They were all in the we, yeah. He was just the I and didn't know it. So he gets voted out.
Yeah, so I still thought it was going to be Romeo, especially I thought Mike would convince them like last week, but come to find out, not so much.
And I'm surprised they convinced Mike.
I don't think they did because one person voted.
No, we watched the votes. He did vote.
Oh, he did. Okay.
For Rox, and I was surprised at that. But I mean,
he's a team player at the end of the day.
You also don't want to be on the wrong side of the vote if you know that's how it's playing out.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so Rox ends up going home.
Yeah.
You guys surprised by this?
He didn't go home. He goes on to the jury, right?
To the jury. Yeah.
He's the second person on the jury with Chanel now, right? So Rox and Chanel both made it to the jury. So, I mean, good for them in that, right? At least they both get to be in the jury.
So what do you think about Rox getting voted off?
Well, to be honest with you, I'm surprised Rox didn't get voted off earlier, a long time ago.
Exactly.
Yeah, but he's been kind of chill since.
He has been chill, but he kind of presented that level why he was a target.
Starting to come back in.
Yeah, why
Big
he was
time.
a target early on because of his bossiness and not willing to really listen to other people and just like tell them what to do and how he comes across. That's why he was a target earlier on, and that's ultimately what got him out this time.
If Rox had went into this week with that group saying, "Hey guys, whatever y'all want to do, I'm cool," Romeo would have gone home.
It's the fact that he's not a power player, and then he started dictating things. And like, you think you're running the show here?
Yeah. Exactly. Had he just been chill, then Romeo would have gone home, and that'd have been that.
Right.
But he screwed himself on that. And the thing is, people had already told him about this. He'd been talked to several times. Like, hey man, you're a little overbearing here. And he's like, oh, okay, I probably need to play it back, in a couple episodes or something, say that. And then in this episode, he went full-blown Rox again.
I think the people who told him that were women. And I think he felt a little more comfortable being this way in front of the men. Like, maybe he felt like, okay, well, maybe I'm intimidating the women. I'm not going to intimidate the men. So I can have this real conversation without it becoming an issue.
But the thing was, it wasn't a conversation, right? So it was just me telling you this is how it's going to be.
I don't think Roxroy had a bad strategy with the guys' alliance because he was not very high, and that would have saved him for several weeks. So I think it was a good strategy. He just couldn't get people behind him.
No, he wouldn't have been wrong.
Because he doesn't know how to present a plan. He wants to
Omar's
inform
very
the people
smart,
of the
where
plan.
he makes it seem like it's almost not his plan.
Right.
Yep, exactly.
Right.
He wants you to feel like it's your plan.
Right, or he has somebody else to blame for starting. Well, so and so said, I had somebody come to me and tell me we were trying to do this. He's never the one that came up with the idea. Like I said,
he'll put out the pros and cons of an idea and ask somebody what they think, knowing that the way he's presented it, it's going to lead him the way he wants them to go.
He's very manipulating.
Yeah,
that's his one good thing he's got going for him is his social game. Man. He's a very good manipulator.
He is.
I mean, 'cause he's weak. He's a weak dude. He can't win anything. But he can sure as heck freaking talk his way through some stuff, man. No doubt about it.
Yeah, and then we have the second trial.
Oh.
So when they all walked in, Drea's face, I mean, all their
Everybody's
face looked shocked, but at first it was Drea's face, and then like looking and seeing that Roxroy was the one out, and then Roxroy's face like made a face expression like back to her, like.
Mm-hmm. And then, of course, then you saw everybody's faces, and everybody looked shocked. I mean, Jonathan looked shocked, Marianne, they all looked shocked. They're like, "Whoa, we did," because they all thought they talked about it.
They all
thought
knew
Romeo
it was
gone.
it was going to be Romeo there, and there's no Romeo.
Well, that's the thing. They shouldn't be too surprised, because when you have like a person that everyone agrees to get away with, that's an opportunity to slide someone in real quick.
Yeah.
Because that person, the other person, like Romeo, for instance, we can get rid of him next week because he's won nothing, right? Romeo hadn't won a single thing, I don't think. So
if everyone hates you, you're not much of a threat.
Well, you think about it, everybody on that side of it, on the Roxroy side, just assumed they were going to let Tori go. And
they thought Tori was going to be gone. That's true.
Tori was at the bottom last time, so and Romeo was at the bottom last time. So like, okay, we'll let Romeo go. They'll let Tori go.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if
Both
people on that first tribe thought, hey, things didn't go that way this way. Maybe they're not going to go that way on the other tribe either. But you never really see that.
I'm kind of surprised Tori's name wasn't thrown out there more on that side.
Mm-hmm. Well, the only reason it wasn't is because Jonathan brought.
I think Jonathan's the one who started everything, and he kind of like
He's like, look, she's got the idols.
Put everything in motion
this.
at that point.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So. Which for him that was a smart decision. Tori doesn't have anything. She got no idols, nothing. So they can't get rid of her anytime. And she's in the same boat as Romeo. Everybody hates her too.
Right.
So whereas you got this girl who's got Drea's got 4 different freaking things, man. She's rocking
the most stuff for sure.
So I mean,
I don't know if they know exactly what she has, but.
Right.
They don't know all of it. They know she has an idol. I don't know. They know she has 2 and all these other things. So.
But yeah, so I mean, getting rid of her was a smart decision.
Yeah.
Until it wasn't.
And they were all.
It wasn't.
And they were all on board with it. They didn't like his approach, but they were all on board with it until they saw rocks.
Mm-hmm.
And then everything changed.
It all went to race, and I hated it.
I thought it made for interesting conversation.
Oh, it made for interesting conversation.
If it would just played out the way it would have been rather boring.
Yeah, it definitely.
I normally don't like
drama.
seeing these race debates in Survivor because it's just tiring at this point. But
yeah, well, I mean, Drea made her spiel. Now that I look over there and it's 2 African Americans, and Survivor tries to get them out fast. It's like, how about the other 8 people that went home before them?
That's where her argument falls apart.
Exactly.
It's like they aren't the first to go. We've already seen about 8 other people go.
Right.
None of them were African Americans, by the way. I don't think. And you voted for the African American, or you voted for the African American that left the first one, Chanel. So she, you were in on the vote against her. So it's like, come on now.
But it's hard to really tell because there's editing involved in all these things. But I think one of the things she's seeing it's what's in front of her. She sees 2 in front of her, and she knows that she's been told to vote Marianne. So in her mind, and then she knows that if that's not going to play it out, if it doesn't play out the way she's told, then obviously she's the other target. So in her mind, she's saying it's going to be Marianne or myself. So at that point in time, she knows based on that plan.
I thought Lindsay went back to her and had her change to Tori, didn't she? I want to say Lindsay had a conversation with her and said,
I don't recall that.
I thought she did. I thought she told her, hey, we need to change
I don't know.
Tori.
And I think she just, I don't know. She explains it.
So this sets Drea off, and she's so perturbed from this that she's like, I don't know what's going on here, but I'm playing an idol tonight, just so you know, because I'm not going to send another black person off to the jury this week.
Yeah, you ain't getting
and
me.
Then she gets to Marianne with all her talk as well, and then Marianne hops on board and ditto for me.
Right. Well, but then of course Jonathan's like, whoa, he's like, you're basically calling everybody here racist, She's like, no, I'm not calling you racist. But I just think, people have unconscious bias. And he's like, so you're calling me an unconscious racist? He's like, race has nothing to do with this. This is a game. This is all a game. And then they were like, yeah, it's a game, but then there's so much more involved other than the game. And in reality, no, there's not. It's freaking $1 million you're playing for. That's what matters. It doesn't matter whose color your skin, none of that crap, none of that matters. You're playing for $1 million, so, period.
But here's the deal. It doesn't really matter what Drea feels or whatever, but because she's kind of right. She is the target tonight, and she feels off somehow.
And she
this
has an idol to
her
play.
because she plays the idol. And if she didn't play the idol, she could have been going home.
She would have gone home.
Well, but then the thing is,
she's right in some kind of sense.
But then she convinces Marianne, hey, we're both going to play
She didn't convince Marianne.
Well, Marianne got in on it
herself.
And said, fine, I'll play my idol too. That way we can show that, we're not playing it, because we're black. We're playing it because, just to get them out of the way and, let this game play out the way it should play out without these idols involved. And it's like, yeah, but you already made it a race issue to begin with.
No, they specifically said that the reason why they were playing the idols was because they didn't want the vote to go. Like, I don't know, that's why. I think Drea was going to play that idol no matter what. But Marianne's argument was that now we've had this big race conversation. She didn't want, if they didn't vote Marianne, because they didn't feel like they could, because they were now unconsciously biased in some way, and they felt like it would make them look bad. So they didn't want that to make a factor in the vote.
Right, exactly.
So
but
she's like, I'm going... The fact that they're playing the idols is what factored in, but she's like, I'm going to play the idols, so therefore they don't have to make that decision or be put in that position.
Yeah, but the fact that they made race an issue already makes it an issue, and it's already going to screw up people's heads going into the vote, and it did.
Yeah, but you're allowed to screw with people. So that's like
well, you are, but the bottom line is, those people, at least during the editing, what we were seeing, weren't voted out because they were black. They were voted out for specific reasons, and it had nothing to do with being black. Yeah. So, and Jonathan even mentioned that. He's like, we ain't voting people like his color to skin, or vote them out as, strategy for the game.
And here's my big issue with all this. It has nothing to do with the race thing. It has something to do with decisions Jeff makes, because then it comes to vote. And if you ask me, Jeff compromises the game at this point, because he's like, well, we don't have to write people's name down. We could just do it out in the open. And everyone's like, cool. And then Jonathan's at least smart, where he's like, after they play their idols,
he's like, yeah, we can do this in the open.
Because if Jonathan didn't say that, he might have allowed it to happen without them playing the idols. They could have held on to it, and then Tori or Lindsay or whatever would have went home.
Yeah, basically, it was like, put your money where your mouth is. Let's get the idols out there if we're going to play it this way.
Yeah. He's like...
And I say he compromised it because what if Drea would have gone and said, they already think I'm going to use the idol. Great. Now I'm not. I'm going to hold on to this for another day. He took that option away from her, to make that decision.
Right, exactly.
It could have been a bluff, but they took that out of it. And I get why they did it, but at the end of the day, this is still a game. Right. It has rules. You should follow them.
And he totally...
The other issue he could have potentially really screwed up is they have the conversation out in the open at this point, and Tori sees the way the conversation's going, and she's like, I'm going to get voted off now, so I want to play my shot in the dark. Well, normally the shot in the dark is a risk. You don't know if you need to play it or not. Where Tori, in this instance, definitely knows she's going home, and the shot in the dark is the only thing that can save her. Now, it come to find out, she's not safe. But if she would have been safe and Lindsay would have went home, Jeff would have really compromised the game, because she played the shot in the dark with zero risk.
But they didn't have to agree. They all agreed to have that open
conversation.
They
had like a 1 second conversation to agree.
Well, yeah, and
that's what you saw.
That's true. That is true.
Yeah, no, and you're right. I mean, that totally compromised the game. And like I said, if Lindsay had gone home, yeah, I mean, she,
if I was Lindsay and would have went, I would have been very pissed, and I would have said, this is not how the shot in the dark's supposed to work.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Jeff is very lucky that she didn't
play it out the way it
have
did.
the shot in the dark, I guess, to be safe.
But now I'm curious of how this plays out going back, because Marianne and Drea are not a realistic alliance in any way.
Well, that's going to be interesting. Well, and I wonder if these conversations like go beyond this episode too, where people are like, I want her gone, but it was so tense because of all that, so I want to avoid that.
Yeah, well, not only that, but then let's think about it too, which was never brought up. All the men on that other team, not a single one was white. They were all minorities. Everybody on that team was minorities. Wasn't a single white dude on there. The only one close to being white was Puerto Rican, was Mike. right? So all the dudes are minorities, Asian, gay, Puerto Rican, none of them, are a white guy. Yet, Dre makes a big freaking stink about the black guy getting voted out.
Well,
when
this
it was
is
all
Survivor.
minorities on their team.
It's always very diverse from the get-go.
Right, exactly. So, so that kind of pissed me off, too.
At least the most, last half of the seasons, I guess.
And then that wasn't brought up. And I'm, if I'm Jonathan, I'm thinking that and be like, whoa, hold on a second. See that group? Oh, the other group, there wasn't a single freaking white person on there. So, yeah, it was just.
Well, again, and that's where like the big controversy of it is, and I think what Drea and Miriam were trying to explain is that I don't think they actually thought it was racism that they were there. And then they said the unconscious bias part.
Exactly.
But I really don't think, I think they just saw that now there's only 2 of them left and they don't want them just to be wiped out. So I don't know how you don't make it about race when you're making it about race.
You don't. If you're making it about race, you're making it about race, period.
I know.
And then once that's out there, then it's in everybody's heads. And then like Josh just said, that can actually benefit them later on. Because now they're going to I don't want to vote them out now.
That's up to the contestants, though. They don't. Yeah. They can buy into that. They don't have to. So they can say, everything you said, Dre, I hear you, but I don't agree with you, and
you're still my target.
I'm not going to let that impact the way I'm going to play the game. They could say that.
Hey, man, we'll see if it plays out that way.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be interested. I normally like talking about strategy and stuff like this. I hate when it's all about the race stuff, and it's kind of annoying, but. If someone was doing it for a strategic purpose, maybe, but you obviously don't want to play that way.
The question remains of the tribe members. Now, again, the fact that they played their idols.
They had idols to play, and they can play them.
Yeah, they can.
Now, if they didn't have idols, that's a whole other story.
That would have been different.
But they played them. The why behind why they played them, that's their personal decision. I mean, that doesn't... I can't say anything about that, Jonathan, because it doesn't matter. You're right. At the end of the day, they can play it whether they want to play it or not. Yeah. But it does make you wonder for their individual game because of the fact that they played that. Was Tori going home the best decision for their game this week? Obviously, for Drea, it was.
Right, because she was going home.
For Marianne, I don't think it was. For Marianne, the best decision would have been for Drea to go home.
I agree.
So... the strategy of the game got put aside for her personal reasons.
Everything's strategic, if you ask me. It doesn't even really matter if they're trying to be strategic in this play because, like, Lindsay hopped on board real quick, and that maybe swayed things like Tori's going home. Tori, if you're smart, you got to see this
that's why Lindsay
and jump on board. Well, we don't know if that's why.
Right.
But
most likely that play.
We don't know if that's even most likely.
That had a factor in it. I'm sure. Like, hey, I better jump on board and make dang.
We don't know if that's most likely.
We don't know. Well, maybe it was.
But regardless, you have to read the room and go. I see the way this is going. I don't want to go home, so I got to do what's necessary to survive here.
Is that what I just said?
Well,
no, you said most likely she did it because of this. That's what you said.
Yeah, that's right.
Which is not what I said.
Most likely, you said you've got to read the room and say, okay, I've got a shot.
What does that have to do with the most likely prediction?
Because most likely she spoke up like that because she saw her opportunity.
You don't have any proof to say that's most likely.
You don't have any proof to say she read the room and said, okay,
I never said she read the room. I said you got to read the room. That's a big difference, Billy.
Okay, he said Billy. He said Josh. They're going at it, guys.
Because most likely means like 80% chance, and you have not given me any evidence to suggest an 80%.
We'll agree to disagree on this one. So whatever, man. Because you've always got to be right. Josh always has to be right. Josh doesn't agree with shit, and he's got to be right. So
most likely is a probability assessment that means 80%.
And I'm still saying she most likely said it because of that.
You can't say this in certain professions without things to back that up, and he has zero to back it up.
Yeah. Okay.
Which is true.
Yeah. You didn't show me up at all.
Thank you.
You agreed with what I said, but then you went back around and said it a different way.
I actually said everything I said to disagree with you, and you can't even pick up on that.
You said you have to read the room and realize it's your shot to jump up and say something, which is exactly what she did.
What does that have to do with you saying most likely, which is what I have the problem with?
That's what she did. Most likely, that's what she did.
And I disagree that's most likely what she did.
Okay, Josh.
Which is why I said everything I just said.
But it doesn't make you right. Just because you disagree with me doesn't make you right.
Neither of you can read the room.
Doesn't make you right.
Because you can't tell that I am incredibly uncomfortable right now.
Yeah.
If someone says this, when someone says the sky's red, I don't have to prove to you that it's not.
No, you're right.
Idiots!
You're the idiot here because you agreed with what I said.
Lindsay,
you just did it in a different way.
Lindsay, is this what
Josh
you felt like
agreed
talking
with what
to Jonathan?
I said, but he did it in a different way.
I have a feeling this is what
This
Lindsay
is a guy
felt
who's
like.
saying everything that he's got to be right every time. So he's the more like Jonathan.
I just happen to be right talking to you, and it's easy.
Dude, you're not right.
It's easy.
It's not easy at all.
It's very easy.
You're
it's just
wrong.
hard for you to understand, and I get that about you.
Oh! Turn your hat forward so you can think straight, and then let's move forward with this. That hat
what
backwards
does that
shit's got your
mean?
brain screwed up, man. Turn around forward.
If I had left the room, would they have noticed?
Probably not.
Yeah.
This guy's an idiot.
This guy's a moron. He just turned his hat around so he unscrambled that little brain of his.
To be
that's in that
clear,
head.
let's just clarify.
little
You
peacock,
ain't
that
getting
little-
more.
that
I
little
should take
pecan
off
he's
my
got in
hat to
there.
show all the hair I have.
That's little pecan he's got in there. Your hat's pretty jacked up right now.
You got
At least I have hair to be jacked
Yeah, you got some hair, yeah.
Oh, God.
Oh!
But what does taking a shot about hair have anything to do with anything?
Right.
Nothing. See, that's the stupid guy right there. You act like a little child right now. You act like a little child, and that's what does
I
it.
am uncomfortable.
You acting like a little child is what does
if
it.
you can't
Most
tell, I
likely.
am.
You acting like a little child is what does it, man. All right. Anyway.
Oh.
I don't even know what we were talking about
What's he
anymore.
owing now?
This is good.
All right.
Is it?
All right. None of
Is
childish
it?
nonsense, Josh. Let's do it.
Oh. He's being an adult, though, guys.
I am being an adult.
This is what adulting looks like.
That's right.
Over
And that's
there.
what being a kid looks like over
That's
there.
what it looks like.
The hat backwards, the
That's
big
what it
grin on his
looks
Oh
face.
my
Yeah.
God.
That's what it looks like.
This is what being uncomfortable looks like. All right, so that's our episode.
No. All right. So,
I
all
mean-
right. So we're doing so we're two more down.
I wrapped this up somehow. Hit that like and subscribe button. Tell us what you think.
Yeah, what do you think about this whole craziness going on? In
I
the
know
show
what's
right
You know what? Don't
I do
even
know-
don't even comment about Survivor. Okay, just is Billy right
now? Or is Josh right? Yes,
right?
I want to hear that too.
Here's what I think is going to happen.
don't care about what you think
I
anymore.
think the editing is going to favor one over the other.
Yeah, that's fair.
Probably so,
this
because
one
Josh
edits.
edits.
So
That's true. Yeah.
I can't wait.
That's what happens when you know you're wrong. You got to twist the editing around and make it look like you're right. So
Should I give Billy
yeah.
more hair in the editing process? Let us know in the comment section.
you can give me more hair too if you like.
All right.
All right, everybody. Well, thank you for watching. We hope you enjoyed the drama. Hey, we had a lot of drama going on in here, just like the show did. So,
Yeah.
there you go. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, like and subscribe.
I don't know what just happened.
Is it like and subscribe? We'll check you guys the next one, and maybe there'll be some more of this. Who knows? But we'll see.
See you guys.
Later, guys.
See ya.
Hey guys, welcome to the Gedunk.
The Gedunk.
What the hell was that?
This is why she did it. This is why the show did it. They were trying to get rid of Jonathan. I know
Well,
it.
that is why the show did.
That
Ain't no
tingle
doubt
on my
about
balls makes me feel
it. You
this.
even.
No. No.
Oh, you finished all your drinking this one.
Oh yeah.
I can't.
Oh yeah. I had to.
can't.
You were getting me worked up where I had to like hydrate.
No, I can't do another one with you guys.
And say it was highly doubtful that all the women would get put on the same team together.
Yeah, that's different.
Oh, it's different. You said it's highly doubtful, which means it's probably not going to happen.
Highly doubtful, most likely. What do you have to substantiate highly doubtful?
Yeah.
A very, very, very low chance.
Well,
And you can run the odds.
You can.
You
You're
can
right.
run the odds, and guess what? It's going to show a very low chance
That's true.
on that one. And
On
this
that
guy's
one.
even
But
agreeing
you
on me
still
on this
can't
one.
prove it, though. Still can't prove it, right?
That's true. Bold subscribers
That's right.
who have not left us.
Love you guys. Yeah.